where have I been?
Yes.
Why have I not been buying food, buying sandwiches, coming in for coffee and other things? And whilst we have millions of customers, we have 8 customers shopping with us every single second, millions and millions of customers a year, the opportunity is still so much bigger.
Our next guest is Fiona Hayes, Chief Executive Officer of 7-Eleven here in Australia. She's at the helm of one of the most exciting and well-loved brands here in Australia. Fiona is a people-first leader who has led multiple businesses through transformative change. She currently serves the top job at 7-Eleven, leading a network of 750 plus stores with a deep and highly valued franchise community. At a time where convenience is at an inflection point of significant disruption and change, with increasing digital engagement, omni-channel, last-mile delivery partnerships, and the evolution of the food offer within the convenience space. Today, we're going to get to pick her brain on all things convenience as a sector, retail more broadly and where it's going, talk a little bit about digital and AI, and start to get really personal with Fiona as a leader. What makes her tick? How did she arrive at the job she's at today? And how does she make it all sustainable on the personal standpoint? Fiona, thank you for joining us on the
Sanjay.
BCG Business and Beyond podcast. It's very, very exciting to have you here. As you know, I hold you in the highest respect. And not only do we have a great partnership, but you're actually a mentor to me. So to have you here and to have all of our listeners benefit from your wisdom is very special to me. So thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. It's great to be able to sit down and have a bit of a chat with you, Sanjay, and just talk about the world as we know it and the convenience sector.
Awesome.
Happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Let's get straight into it. I'd love to start wide. So retail in general, and then moving into convenience, the word convenience has just changed. It's transformed in its meaning. It used to be a corner store where you could go get a little bit of a top-up shop, a couple of items in an emergency. But today, every retailer would tell you that they're being convenient, that they are able to meet the customer's demands where those exist. What does convenience mean today, and how do you think about that sector?
Yeah, I think things have changed, quite a bit over the last few years, and the way that I think about convenience and the way that we certainly bring that to life and think about it across 7-Eleven is very much linked to what customers need, as you said. What are their needs? When do they need it? And where do they need it? So once upon a time, that might have been pulling up on your car and popping into a bricks and mortar store. These days, everyone's got a computer in their pocket, phone in their pocket. They're in hotels, they're in airports, they're all in multiple different places. And so we've really had to think about our business from all of those aspects. What once was, a shop with a few items in it, now really has to scale all of those aspects of what consumers are looking for. So, once upon a time, bricks and mortar was the way to go. These days, it's far from that, and it's very much an omni-channel play, and that's really where the convenience world is evolving. And I think a couple of other things, we've talked about this previously, is the supermarket industry, the food industry, all of these places are quite mature business models. So everyone's looking for growth. So what we're seeing in the marketplace now, particularly around traditional convenience, is the supermarket players or the grocery sector thinking about how they've got to evolve and respond to the changing dynamics of consumers. And then you've got the traditional convenience players thinking about, okay, how do we get a broader piece of really what we're learning from customers, this kind of food market and the food on the go mission. So we're seeing quite a bit of convergence from the big side of town trying to evolve down into the more traditional convenience space, and then the convenience players like us at 7-Eleven thinking about a broader way to serve customers' needs, particularly with the growing relationship or growing needs from customers around food and beverage.
It's really helpful, Fiona. Thank you. And as I hear that, I hear a lot more competition. I hear intensifying competition. Do you see this as a source of threat or of opportunity?
I think there's more opportunity than there is threats. Particularly, we see it particularly from a 7-Eleven perspective or a convenience perspective. We're learning a lot about customers' behaviours.
Mm-hmm.
And
can we talk about that?
Yeah.
So we talked about what customers want is shifting. So to the extent you can share that and define that, what does that mean? So what are Australian, New Zealand customers looking for today, and how is that different from, say, a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think there's a number of factors. Firstly, we're serving really 6 generations of customers all at once.
Yeah, wow.
When you think about the boomers right down to kind of the alphas levels. So we have to not try and be all things to all people, but certainly, play to the strengths of the needs of the generations today that are shopping in this sector. I think secondly, customers are time poor. People are busy in this climate that we're in. So fast service, good quality offerings that you can come in and out of conveniently is really appealing to a lot of customers. And then value and quality. People want convenience, but they don't want to diminish on quality and value. And I think fourthly, certainly customers are expecting to be recognised, understood, rewarded for their loyalty, and most importantly, have a solution for them, whether it's coming to us or we go to you. So we're thinking about that holistically. And there's one other dimension I think that's highly relevant in Australia, and that is, a third of Australians are born overseas. Mm-hmm. We have a very rich culture right across all of the neighbourhoods in Australia. So localised ranges, flavour profiles that suit the needs of your customers, all of these sorts of things we're seeing as a real differentiator from just the run-of-the-mill offering that everyone can do quite simply.
That's great. And it's actually a great hook for you to shift into maybe talking a little bit more about 7-Eleven as a business.
Yep.
And giving away that I'm a very basic customer with some very simple needs. Years ago when I was growing up, I'd come for a Slurpee. We'd often fill up on fuel. Is that what convenience is doing today? Is it around iconic, indulgent items and fuel top-ups, or is there something different about convenience in 2025?
All those things that you've mentioned, but it's also a lot more. So, we do run a large network around Australia, 750 plus stores. And I think a couple of things first and foremost about our business and how we see it is, and this drives really perhaps a broader answer to your question. But firstly, we're very much a purpose-led business.
Yes.
And our purpose is a really simple one, and it's to make every day easier so Australians can live a good life. So we really see that purpose as why we exist. And the ambition that we've set ourselves, or in other words, where we're heading, is to be, for all Australians to say 7-Eleven, that's my convenient neighbourhood store. It's a place that I can go from any time of the day to get what I want, where I want it, or when I need it. So we've taken that purpose, we've taken the ambition, and we've said, okay, what does that really then, how does that translate into our strategy? How does that translate into what we bring to life to the customer? And of course, it's all those iconic products. Who doesn't love, a Slurpee?
I'd like to meet someone.
I would like to meet someone too. I've never met someone who doesn't like a Slurpee. There'll be someone out there. I'm sure they'll give us the feedback. So we've taken that purpose, we've taken that ambition, and we've looked at what's really successful about our business. Mm-hmm. So we're really thinking about those need states of customers and how we evolve the offer. And it's absolutely critical for us to do it because the sector in 2025, as you called out, is rapidly changing.
Yeah.
Then you look ahead, and we are going to go through an energy transition at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Prizes for anyone who can guess the exact moment that will happen. So we've got to think about our business beyond fuel as well, but fuel remains a really important part. We do see ourselves having a huge role in obviously supplying energy to consumers around Australia today for their needs, but that will change, and it's all about evolving the offer. We just don't want to be a convenience stop, you shop with us because you're getting your fuel. We want customers to think about us for their daily needs every day. So,
and what might that offer look like, Fee?
Yeah, absolutely.
future?
So I think the offer, as we continue to evolve, will most definitely be food and beverage led. We've seen rapid growth in that already in our business to offset the tobacco decline. And customers are really responding well, but it needs to be high quality, needs to be value. And of course, expanding beyond that to other needs for customers in their local neighbourhoods, particularly around top-up supplies, an everyday destination for your needs. You think about the food sector in Australia, $160 billion and growing. The traditional petrol and convenience share of that is literally it's 1 billion of that 160,
Wow.
or 1% of the $160 billion food industry. So if you think about that from an opportunity, it's huge.
Yeah.
And secondly, customers have opened the door. They're buying food from us. They're buying on offer. We've just really got to keep working on how we change the perception that coming into petrol and convenience of old is not what it was. It's now a food and beverage-led destination.
Yes.
And we can get into that too, because that's an interesting one to talk about.
To be honest with you, I'd love to actually,
Yeah.
because it's one of the greatest assets, but also possibly something to overcome as a challenge. 7-Eleven is one of the best known brands in Australia. Everyone who grew up here knows the brand. It's a global brand, and it means certain things, and it means certain things in a very strong way, but obviously that's evolving. How are you educating or retraining the perception with customers? How does one achieve that in a practical sense for listeners?
Yeah, I think there's 3 really important elements to it, and they all have equal importance. So firstly, you have to have obviously a good quality offer.
Yeah.
First and foremost, you've got to have an in-store experience that's really supportive of a food-led mission. And I'll give you some examples of that. Customers tell us, many customers are happy to buy food from a station that also, or a store that also sells fuel, but not everyone is.
Yeah.
Because they think, is it clean? All of these sorts of things. So you've got to have the right environment, a clean environment, a food-led atmosphere in your environment that really welcomes customers in.
Yeah.
People don't want to buy food and nourishment from a place that isn't looking like you would want to eat there.
Yes.
And then you've got to have people, our people in our stores that are really serving customers, friendly staff that will, obviously get people coming back. It's not that hard, really, the basics of retail. Clean store, well-stocked shelves, friendly staff. It's a simple formula, but it really works.
Yes.
And then I think I'll add in a fourth. I said there was 3, but add in a fourth, this digital play as well. So changing how we deal with the customer perception is a really important one, because absolutely, before I started working at 7-Eleven, I honestly didn't think to buy food at 7-Eleven. I would definitely go for drinks. I'd definitely go for snacks. I'd take my children there for the iconic Slurpee. And I started working at 7-Eleven, thought, where have I been?
Yes.
Why have I not been buying food, buying sandwiches, coming in for coffee and other things? And whilst we have millions of customers, we have 8 customers shopping with us every single second, millions and millions of customers a year, the opportunity is still so much bigger.
Yeah.
So another really important part of how we create this food-led business is this perception change and how we talk about ourselves. So, and it will take time. It really took, if we think about the coffee journey, it took 10 years for Australian consumers to buy coffee in volume from the petrol and convenience channel. 10 years, and we don't really have 10 years.
Yes. Yeah.
So all of those elements that I mentioned, a great looking store, staff, good offer is critically important. Then we have to work on how we get that mental availability, for want of a better term, from our customers to think about us and associate 7-Eleven with food and beverage-led missions. So we've just recently launched a bit of a refresh of our brand, and it's a very simple message. Anytime is 7-Eleven time.
Yep.
Again, back to our ambition, being a convenient neighbourhood store, a place you can go for all of your needs. And the anytime messaging is intended to show customers that we have changed.
Yeah.
And that you can come to us at any time.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that. It's gotten some really good traction so far.
And I've got a very simple follow-up question here, Fee. And again, at the risk of really defining myself as a Slurpee enjoying fried food guy, which is actually what I am. When I was in Japan, I loved the fried chicken at 7-Eleven. I spilt something on my shirt. I was able to get a business shirt at 7-Eleven, as it turns out. And it fit pretty well, and it's washed very well as well. So just for anyone out there. When I was in the US, you get a whole bunch of the hot food section, which is just delicious. Of course, there's healthier options for those inclined around salads, etc. As you think about food and these other categories, just a basic question. How do you pick? How do you pick and how do you know what's going to work in your stores? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You could go and decide that 7-Eleven's going to be tomorrow. How do you make a deliberate choice beyond food? How are you doing that?
Yeah, you have to understand your customers and, most importantly, test and learn.
Okay.
So for food, you do need to run, quite detailed reviews of what are all the trends, what are all the things customers are interested in buying. Can you produce it at the quality level? There's no point launching something that isn't going to meet a quality standard for customers because they won't buy it again or come back. And then you've got to get it into the market and really test it, and then learn to scale. And I think on the food side of things, that presents a number of challenges in the Australian market. We're a small population on the global scale, 27 million people, with population centres a long way from each other.
Yes.
Not great for fresh supply chains.
Yeah.
And producing volume in an economic way with high quality. So that really, some of the other markets that you mentioned, they benefit from large populations, densely populated populations as well, which really supports food supply chain production activities. Now, we've got ways and means around that here in Australia, but it is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
But secondly, when we look at all the other categories, there is a lot of analysis, again, understanding your customers, but there is, some trial and error there to go with it as well. And a couple of the categories we're really proud about is, our exploding growth in our drinks category.
Yeah. Yes.
And we've deliberately chosen to really tap into the Gen Z customer. We're the fastest growing seller of packaged drinks, from your energy drinks right through to your hydration drinks, right through to your sort of imported international ranges that suit customers' needs. And sometimes, we're often very confident, but sometimes we're not quite sure what the hits and misses are going to be in those ranges. But I think being known as a destination, that's another thing I think is really important. We're being known as a destination for new.
Yeah.
Particularly with the Gen Z customers, they want new. And we've got to keep, exploring the world, quite literally, working on those relationships, working on a pipeline of new offers, whether it's snacking, whether it's drinks, whether it's food innovation, and then testing what's working and moving fast. Because when you've got something that's working, you've got to capitalise on the moment. And then in some of our other parts of the store, we have had to learn how to do that, particularly around how we think about ourselves from those everyday essentials that customers might want to buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not every neighbourhood has the same needs.
Yeah.
And getting those slower moving ranges curated in the right way does require a little bit of trial and error and test and learn to get it right.
And I think the franchise community, which we should definitely speak about.
Yeah.
They are the heartbeat and they know the customer at that ground level, at the store level.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they can help in learning quickly what works and what doesn't. But maybe just your comment on that.
Oh, absolutely. And we sort of have this nice balance within the organisation that, of course, the support office is there to kind of map the globe and find all the products that are new, great, and will work based on, our customer insights. But the local operators, the store leaders, the franchisees, they know their neighbourhoods best.
Yeah.
And we've been introducing increasingly an initiative that we refer to as retailer initiative, which gives some of that flexibility to the store to tailor in and bring in what they know will work for their customers and present it in a way that's right for their customers as well. Because regardless of all the smarts and all the tools and automation you can have in space management and analytics and insights, that knowledge of the local customer is hard to replace.
Yeah, that's great. I've been speaking to a couple of the Southeast Melbourne franchisees, by the way, about adding some fried chicken and burger options. So hopefully that makes its way through the system.
Well, we have our new cheeseburger just launched, actually.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
In the month of October.
They've listened.
So, yeah, that's listened. And the fried chicken is a hit in the stores that we have it. Again, back to the environment. We're in this phase of needing to get our stores to be able to support this sort of food and beverage-led mission, which, as you'd appreciate, we have to have the right equipment, the right setup, all those sorts of things. So watch this space. A lot more stores will have fried chicken in the coming year.
Very good.
Because that is one thing that customers really do want, fried chicken.
So it's not just me then.
Not just you.
Not just me. Can I ask you then, so, you would have been out to Japan and the US as part of your role. What's one or two items that you love and would love to see Australians have at 7-Eleven down the track? No commitments, just curious what you love.
Yep. One, well, there's so many, but I'll give a couple. I think all the fresh meal options, bowl meals, whether it's a pasta with a little side salad or a bento box type setup or a burrito bowl type offering, just to complement all of the other things that we have, something with a little bit more of a substantial, healthy event on it. We've seen really great ranges, particularly in Japan, that meet a wide variety of palettes and options for customers, and super fresh and good price. So that's amazing. And I think some of the other ones. Oh, and the other one is curry bread.
Right. Okay.
So this is back at work, people do laugh at me. I refer to this as a bit of a life-changing experience when you have curry bread for the first time.
So I haven't had this, and I don't even actually know what it is.
It sells like 80 million units a year in Japan, and so just think of a beautiful, crispy. Think of like a savoury donut with a nice panko breadcrumb crispy exterior, a fluffy interior with a nice hit of beautiful beef curry in the middle and other sorts of flavourings.
Oh, wow.
Life-changing. Very, very nice.
Okay, I'll look out for it.
We're very passionate about bringing some of these flavours to Australia. It might look a little bit weird for I think, Australians at first, but we certainly know everyone who tries it loves it.
Okay.
Or the vast majority.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter sometimes of having that first try. So, again, try it here first, newness, all of these sorts of things.
Wonderful.
We recently had a great, a customer put on TikTok. 7-Eleven Australia is becoming a bit more like 7-Eleven Japan with all of these sorts of new offerings coming into the market. So we won't just be like Japan, but we will be bringing in, the types of innovation in our food, beverage, snacking offering that really is going to resonate here.
Oh, that's awesome. And I think Australians are just waiting for it. It's going to be really exciting. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about this, and I think you've just gone there now, but digital and digital engagement with consumers. So TikTok, wherever else you're meeting them, I actually don't want to list it and embarrass myself. So how are you connecting in a digital way with your consumers?
Yeah. A couple of things. So I think first and foremost, a retailer in this day and age, you have to be digitally engaged with your customers. I think we all recognise that and know that. And the way that we're thinking about digital is, firstly, loyalty. Customers are increasingly engaging in loyalty programs or shopping around digitally for the right offer, the best offer for their need at that time. So having a presence with a loyalty program that really resonates with customers, I think is one element of digital engagement. The other element of all of that is, how do you understand who your customer is and ensure that they're presented with the right offer through your digital platforms. So that personalisation element. And then, really importantly, as a convenience retailer, e-commerce.
Yeah.
And it's just critical to be where all your customers' eyeballs are. We now have, 700 stores active on marketplaces here in Australia, and we've just launched our 7 Now home delivery service, which is available through the My 7-Eleven app.
And for those who don't know, so what's a marketplace? When you say that,
so DoorDash, Uber Eats, etc.
Okay.
Yep. And we've gone from a tiny percentage of sales to literally over 7% of sales in 12 months coming through home delivery.
Oh, awesome.
Or delivery.
And do you see that continuing
and we
to
see
grow?
that we see that continuing to grow. And it is bringing in new business to us as well, because particularly where we're seeing the time of day that consumers are using marketplaces. For example, in the evenings when our stores are generally a little quieter, now that we've got that offer and we can present, a really fast delivery time, sub 30 minutes to customers, it's convenient. It's the epitome of convenience.
Yes.
Gets what you need. So that digital ecosystem, I think, is all encompassing, and it's always on. But how do you? And then you've got all the social media elements and everything coming through it as well, and it's a very powerful engine when you tap into the right mediums. I think to suit your customers. And I'm far from the expert on that, Sanjay. But we have a very talented team who scout around for the right influencers, the right connections. And I think you do need to be a little bit flexible and true to your brand values. But it can be very powerful when someone taps into you or you tap into the right social media outlet to present your offer or to present some excitement for your customers. So, yes, I'm learning all the time when it comes to who's who in the zoo here. And so you do have to have, lots of advice and lots of people in the know that can help you tap into the right medium at the right time.
It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I'm
Some
no
of the
expert.
things that take off, you think, wow, that's interesting. How did that take off? But it does. And it just depends what people are interested in. Yeah.
Is there anything else in terms of how 7-Eleven is strategically thinking about winning in this new world that you'd want to highlight or talk through?
Yeah, I think the people that work with you and your partnerships are critical as well. And, we like to think about the success ecosystem. It's our people that work both in our support office or in our store environment, all the partnerships that we need to have in the market to find the innovation and to bring in the new items and to really be on the same page together. And then thirdly, our customers.
Yep.
So we probably haven't touched a lot on, the human side or the people side of the workforce, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, as well. But I think you can only be as successful as the team that you have and I mean quite broadly the team that you employ directly, but also all the partnerships that you have. So I think one of the really keys to success is having the right partnerships, having the right team, but also having the right partnerships in place. That is, really built on, a shared understanding of strategy, ideation together, joint problem solving, and then fast. You've got to move at pace, to capture some of the trends and innovation that's happening as well. So, I think they're happy to get into those topics too, but they're really a critical part of success. Yeah, if we can't stock those shelves with the right things, then we're out of business.
Let's talk about AI. Let's shift into that. So moving from digital into sort of the AI journey, and curious to know how 7-Eleven is thinking about this at numerous levels. So what is the conversation within your business around AI and deploying it either for customer-facing applications or for internal productivity, efficiency, modernization applications? But how is your business and how are you thinking about AI at 7-Eleven?
So one area that we are really leaning into leveraging AI is particularly in our store operations. We're also in our marketing activities and in some of our pricing activities as well. So when you think about store productivity, and I've talked about our ambition and the food and beverage-led world offer that we're adopting, that comes with it as, additional tasks that a store team needs to do. You're not just loading up a fridge with packaged drinks, having tobacco in the cabinets of the days of old. It's food preparation, it's cleaning, it's food safety standards, all of these sorts of things. So to run, the business in a profitable way, we've got to have a look at how can we do all of that without adding a lot more labour into the stores.
Yes.
So I think there's many use cases. A couple to share with you would be things like we've been working through a bit of a time in motion of where all the heavy labour activities are.
This is in a store?
In a store. So if you think about store productivity as a rich area of opportunity for automation, we have many things that are still quite manual in our environment. One classic one being ordering stock.
Okay.
We have, once upon a time, we had about 1,500 SKUs in a store. We're now about 2,500 and increasing. So
and SKUs, items.
Items, yep. Individual products.
Yep.
And our ambition is to continue to increase the number of items on offer in our stores. So we have to find ways to do that more efficiently. There are plenty of tools out there. We've adopted one that really helps us take the guesswork out of stock ordering and automate that activity for our store teams.
Yes.
So I think when you can use all of these modern tools to take the guesswork out, add quality to the task, and then, of course, improve the offering for the customer, it's a win-win for everyone. And our stores are really receptive of it because it helps them do quite a manual activity with better quality.
Yep.
So using AI tools, and it frees their time up. It frees their time up. Now we're only sort of early phases of the rollout of this capability, but it's it will be a game changer. And then all of these tools, modern AI stock management tools allow you then to, in our business, weather forecasts really change what you need to have in your store for customers.
Yep.
You can program all that in and look at history and give you the right recommendation for what you need. So those types of activities, we've got a really cool test happening right now, really leveraging agentic AI. So you think in store productivity as well. We have 8,000 people working in our store network. It's a lot of people to train. It's a lot of people to have having to remember how to clean that coffee machine, all of these various tasks that need to happen in a store. And we have, a whole lot of reference tools for people. But we're testing an agentic AI sort of capability where you can literally ask the agent to serve up whatever user guide you might need or training document, so you don't have to go and try and work through which area of your store mate and all these other things. So and also being able to serve that capability up in multiple languages if English might not be your first language as well. So there's all of these ways that modern use all the AI tools that are available can be used. I mean, we've got a list, a kilometre long of things that we could get on with. So we've got to. I think most importantly, you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Are you exchanging notes with other CEOs, with other executive teams? How do you kind of calibrate the level of investment and how quick to go?
Yeah, I think we've got more work to do on that, but being part of a global business is very helpful.
Yes.
Particularly with 7-Eleven operating in a number of different markets, right around the world. We are tapping into those sorts of networks. We're also working in with a lot of our partnerships that we have for best practice. There's a lot in the marketing arena, as you'd appreciate. There's a lot through our other strategic advisors, like your good selves, of course, at BCG, who are really, particularly in some of the work that we've done on value creation through pricing and leveraging AI tools for pricing has been, really groundbreaking. So we're both having the opportunity to, talk to others locally and globally for use cases, but also to hear from other markets as well. So it is tricky because you do have to. I think we've still got more to do to create, further clarity around how we are going to not just test various use cases, but have a clear roadmap for adoption of AI in the business. We have various policies and processes and absolutely work happening. That's where we're at in our maturity to now take that into a bit more of a clearer strategic roadmap. As I said, there are so many parts of our business that are ripe for the picking to apply in this way.
My point of view on this, by the way, and I'd mentioned this, or I mentioned this widely, but is it starts at the top. If your CEO and your C-suite is literate in the possibilities of AI, organizations can adopt quickly, can disrupt quickly. Conversely, if they don't know what's out there, they're not able to pick up on the signals and help the business to have the confidence to invest behind.
Totally agree.
Are you in a similar place?
Yeah, totally agree. We've just recently had, part of our strategic planning and work is continued professional development in learning about the trends, the opportunities, doing some assessment about our readiness to push further into this space. So we've got the right level of curiosity, interest, intent, some data to work with, some use cases to work with. Our next phase is now to, continue to expand that readiness. But I couldn't agree with you more. You have to roll up the sleeves here. And I think every executive in every business, if you're not digitally literate, you're not technically savvy, across these sorts of trends, you're really going to get left behind. So starts with that level of curiosity and adopting the learning mindset and then applying it and then being ready to kind of put the structure around it.
Amazing. And do you have, just if I can ask, a couple of favorite AI use cases for your own personal productivity? Do you use it for email or something else?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Copilot.
Okay, very good. Yes.
I just think it's fantastic when you need to run some analysis over a presentation quickly or some data. There are a number of things that we're all using, and you really do have to stop and train yourself. What tool have I got to do this differently, faster, smarter?
Yes.
And stop and think about it. And once you do that a few times,
changes the game.
It does change the game.
Let's talk about adaptability, and I think it's a great shift from the business you're leading to maybe your experience and your career. So today you're the CEO of 7-Eleven Australia, and you've been at the business for several years now, but you've had a long career.
Yeah, it's been 30 years. I guess the short version of my career story is, first and foremost, I had an ambition when I was younger to be an occupational therapist.
Oh.
And I don't think I've told you this story.
No, that's new news.
This is probably new news. And I was studying health science, and I was working actually at Telstra at the time in a call centre, and I slowly realised that I'm not a patient person. I don't like working by myself, and as I learned more about what it would take to be an occupational therapist, I thought these are not attributes that suit my personality.
Okay.
So one thing led to another, and I ended up starting a full-time role with Telstra, progressed pretty rapidly into contact centre leadership roles, and forged a sort of a path in operations management. I think one thing that Telstra has always been excellent at is really developing and stretching leaders, particularly those that are interested in the challenge. So I had, probably 10 or 15 years of a lot of experience around the organisation, from consumer and small business, particularly in the consumer and small business arena. And I had other opportunities then, as I was I guess, developing my career to add to the toolkit. I was sort of recognising after a period of time that I'd done many parts of operations leadership, including leading, the global contact centres for Telstra in Australia, India and Philippines. But I really wanted to do a little bit more work on breadth, strategy, more rounding out on end-to-end business leadership. So I worked in some different parts of the company as well, particularly honing some of those more commercial planning strategy skills. And I worked for in the Telstra operations division with all of our, as we were transitioning to the NBN, capital planning, network operations, all of those sorts of side of things. So that was a bit of a different move for me, because that part of the company was all the IT engineering, and they're like, you've worked on the customer side of the business. What are you doing here? And it was, of course, quite deliberate to bring both a bit more of a customer first lens into that area of the company, but also for me professionally to expand my toolkit and apply it in different parts of the business, which was great. So I guess you could say really I've spent the best way to describe my career journey is adapting, taking on new challenges, understanding what's in my toolkit, what I want to add to it to continue to grow. I'm the type of person that likes a lot of variety, so that suited me very well, and gave me, I guess, a toolkit with a very broad and wide variety of experiences.
It sounds
and
very
runs
much
on the board.
It sounds very much like a grand plan that was very well managed and intelligently managed, where you had all these building blocks. Is that how it actually plays out as you're living your career? So for people earlier in their careers, did you always want to be a CEO, for example, or is this something that evolves over time?
Yeah, it definitely evolves over time. This might go against the grain of what a lot of people might think or might advise, but for me personally, the number one driver has always been you spend a lot of time at work, enjoy what you're doing, and don't just do something because you think it's going to tick a box, but enjoy what you're doing first and foremost. Secondly, I do enjoy the challenge of leadership roles, and so when I sort of recognised that was an area, a pathway that I wanted to continue to grow in, you do have good mentors and advisors, along the way, leaders that look out for you, and the good ones will nudge you along and say, you're too consolidated in one area. Go and get some different experiences. So my career journey was very much built around getting breadth of experiences, trying new things, particularly those formative years, working out what you like, what you don't like. I've had those times as well where actually, no, this is not for me.
Yes.
But there's three things that really matter to me in a role. One, I really enjoy the leadership side of it. I like the challenge I like the responsibility, and I like the challenge of that. It's not for everybody, but I do enjoy it. Secondly, I always look for roles that have a big transformation element to it. And parts of my career at Telstra, they're the moments that I've really loved the most, when we've really been working on something quite groundbreaking, having to push the status quo, and it was a realisation that having transformation at scale elements just gets me out of bed and gets me very, very energised. And of course, in the petrol and convenience sector, for all the things that we've discussed, there's a lot of that.
There's a bit happening.
And thirdly, I'm always very energised when I'm working in a customer-centric sort of environment. That connection with the real world, transaction of a customer or interaction with a customer is something that I absolutely love and have always been drawn back to, even when I've worked in, different parts of Telstra, for example. I've always found my way back to a bit more of a direct customer business unit. So I got that clarity over time that they're the three things that matter to me. That everyone will have their own things, but for me, it was enjoy the challenge of leadership, a transformative element to the role, and a close connection with an operation and the customer.
So I don't think you can get a better definition of that role than being the CEO of 7-Eleven at this time.
No, so that's why I've got a big smile on my face, because it's great. It's just an amazing, it's an amazing role.
Tell us, for those of us who aren't CEOs, myself included, what is it like being the CEO of 7-Eleven? So you've been in that role for about a year and a half. So some of the stuff you love, some of the challenges you didn't expect, make that role real for the rest of us.
Well, as I remind many people, this role is, a role in the business. Everyone's got, a critical role to play in the business. But what has it been like? Well, firstly, being, afforded the opportunity to lead a business like this at this time in our in the sector's, transformation. It's one of those sort of pinch yourself moments. You do feel the trepidation of the responsibility, but also the excitement of the opportunity. And I have to say, sometimes people say being in the CEO role can feel a bit lonely. But we've got a lot of people in our corner at 7-Eleven, both within my own team and also with our international business and our owners. And so it's one of those sorts of moments where you go into this role and you think, oh, what is it going to be like? And it's actually been a very supportive environment where we've had the opportunity to really collaborate, really get on with creating our growth agenda, putting the wheels in motion and getting on with it. So it's been a very rewarding, actually, experience. There's times when you go, oh, yeah, it does feel a bit hard at times.
Yeah.
When we live or die by. I think in the CEO role, there's a couple of things. We have to ensure that the business is ready for, those over the hill moments, the strategic plan. But you also have to deliver for today, because you can't get there if you're not delivering for today. And I think there's always that tension in the role. That's one thing that I have found a little bit challenging from time to time, is spending enough time preparing for the longer run elements that we need to get on with, while dealing with managing for today and adapting to the changes that we need to make for today. But I think what I've learned through all of that is you do have to be very aware of how you're spending your time. Are you getting too caught in the day-to-day versus, looking over the hill, and having a team around you that's also, we're having open discussions about all those sorts of things. So,
can we talk about that? Can we talk about, you mentioned earlier capabilities, whether through your partners and in your ecosystem or within your own team. I think you do an amazing job of bringing the right people together and then creating a culture where they can operate as a high-performance team. But could you speak to how you employ or embrace capability across this group? Yeah,
for sure. First of all, mindset's really important. I like to work with people that, are very comfortable to be part of a team. And that means you can build on ideas together, you can debate together, you can align together. You're in it as a team, not as an individual.
Yeah.
So that's really important, I think, from an attribute perspective. But the way that I really like to approach things is, first and foremost, we need to have absolutely the right capabilities in the business. We need to have the right mindsets and then we need to work on ourselves as a team. One thing I have learned in this role is you can never communicate enough.
Okay.
I think sometimes when you're in the position where you can see the business holistically and you've got access to a lot of information, you've got to remember that not everyone in everyone's roles sees all of those pieces.
Yeah.
And so I really see the role as CEOs to create that clarity around this, and with your leadership team, of course, but the clarity around the strategy and where you're heading.
Yeah.
Bring that to life in very simple and clear communication. Keep people informed, another critical part of that communication agenda. And that means also not avoiding reality. So build momentum, celebrate the wins, but be clear on, what also needs to occur.
Yeah.
I'm big about transparency, to be honest. I think we're all adults and there's some risks that come with being particularly transparent, but I think there's more benefits that gain with that.
But what about when you have a crisis that's got some media scrutiny, or whether you have something go wrong in a given store or the offer isn't resonating? How do you think about accountability in your role? How do you turn up for those tough moments?
Yeah, well, ultimately, you're accountable first and foremost, and I think it's not helpful for anyone to, kind of fly off the handle. You've got to start with, the rational approach first. Deal with the situation that's in front of you.
Yeah.
Understand it. Analyse what's going on. Get the right people together to figure out how you solve in that moment. Secondly, then you need to learn from it.
Yeah.
How did it happen? Why did it happen? What can we learn from? Bring the right people together then to work that through. And I think very critically, stay on it. If something hasn't worked well, one learning that I have is, things get very busy. There's a lot of plates spinning and balls in the air. And if there's something that in particular needs ongoing attention, you got to stay on it. And I think when you set that tone, that leadership tone, then we will make sure that those learnings are embedded in the business. But I'm very big about focusing on kind of positive reinforcement, building momentum and hope and belief.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think when something goes wrong, I think first, you've got to have a learning culture. And I think that's incredibly important, regardless of the size, scale or anything in the business. If you don't learn from your wins, if you don't learn from your mistakes and do something about it, then it's a lost opportunity.
Mm-hmm. One of the hallmarks for me, and I've obviously had the privilege of working for you in the past, one of the hallmarks for me of your leadership style is everyone feels that they can approach you, everyone feels that they could speak to you, connect with you, and you personally will go and connect with every single member of the 7-Eleven team. I've seen you do it. How do you show up as a leader? What is it about your philosophy as a CEO that makes you known for that?
Well, I guess the philosophy is my job is, to lead the business and ensure that we've got a thriving business for decades to come, to improve the business from where it's been and make it successful for years to come. And I just have a belief that I can't do that if I'm not tapping into the knowledge of everyone in the business. And we're in a really nice kind of size and scale in our business where it is possible to, we haven't got 40,000 people working in the support office. It's 500 or so folks. We've got all of our stores and various events and things like that where we can get out and about and connect with people. And I'm personally, I like meeting with people. I like talking to people, and I think it's very rewarding to hear and see what's going on. So my philosophy is very much about we're here to create a prosperous future. How are we going to do that if we don't get the right insights and have the right relationships and connections with our teams? So that's why. Well, and I like talking to people. So I'm very much, wired that way to...
Sorry, I was going to say, I think you bring a low ego, high service sort of orientation.
Yeah.
It's a lot of what I feel in your leadership style.
One of my team, now you mentioned that, there's one of my team recently, we're working on giving, some feedback, to each other. And he said, there's a bit of a philosophy in you that is the only hierarchy is the next best idea.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think he summed up. I think that summed it up really nicely about how personally I like to operate. Of course I've got some ideas and strong views on things, but really we want all of the ideas to come up and not let hierarchy getting in the way of the next best idea or opportunity. We don't want a culture where things are hidden under the covers. We've got to bring it out. Yeah. And this point on culture I think is really important. I think you can look around the market. People often, in the convenience space in grocery, we're selling very similar products often. But what can differentiate is the culture of a business. No one can replicate how you work. The culture, and I mean it by how you work, how you show up, how you work with each other, how you work with your partners.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think our team at 7-Eleven invests time and energy for not just in my tenure, for a long time in the culture of the business. And that, I think, has given us a competitive edge.
Fee, you mentioned it's busy, and I'm sure your calendar, if anything's blown up since you've taken on the new role. How do you keep things sustainable? Now, I'm sure the listeners want to understand the nitty-gritty of how you make the physical, mental, spiritual side of yourself work when you've got such a demanding and interesting job.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you make it all sustainable.
Firstly, organisation. I'll start with maybe the practical and then get a bit more into the the other sides of things. There are a lot of, demands. I do a bit of travel in the role as well. Now that we are officially part of 7-Eleven International since April 2024, we've got new and varied stakeholders in the business to engage with, which is fantastic. But you have to be very organised. So a couple of things that I'm very insistent on is that we've got, a very well planned out company calendar. So we can map out everything that we've got to do from the board level right through to our store engagements, supplier engagements, etc. So having an organised calendar, critical, and then it means you can look at where your time is going, how you're going to make time for other things that, around the really critical cadence that you need to have for the company. I think a couple of things, how I manage my own energy is I'm very in tune with that. For me, if I keep up my exercise routine, I'll tell you what that is in a moment. I feel pretty much fine all the time.
Okay.
If I let that go, I start to fall off the rails a little bit. So I get up at 5:30 most mornings, and I commit to a group that I've been training with for a little while. If I commit to somebody, I'm very loyal. I will turn up.
Okay, that's great. Some
so
accountability.
I know myself, some accountability. If I just going to get myself out to go for a run or something, I'll probably hit snooze. So I very much need to look someone in the eye and be committed to them.
Okay.
And I really enjoy it. But
what do you do? Are you going for a group run?
Yeah, we do like strength cardio training classes at a gym. There's sort of 3 or 4 of us in the class, and we've been training together for a few years. And
that's great.
With a trainer, which is really good. But as I said, I have to commit to somebody, and then I'll never let them down.
Okay. Are there any other sort of parts to this that, because I think careers are forged not just through intellectual curiosity and having high drive and ambition, but that emotional and mental resilience is the bit that isn't spoken about or isn't articulated as well. I'm just wondering if there's anything else that you'd want to share.
Yeah, I'll share a couple of I think it's important to have a phone a friend.
Okay.
And also back to our conversation about the team, enough trust in the team to be able to, express a worry or a concern and talk it through without it becoming sometimes you just got to chat something through that's a concern without it, being broadcast to the whole world. So having a bit of a phone a friend, I think, is really important just to keep things in check. But yeah, I have built resilience over time. I think when you've run large operations for a long time, you've literally seen everything.
I'm sure.
And handled everything from, operational disasters to natural disasters to everything that goes, people issues to customer problems to, the highs of, great performance and wins. You've literally seen it all. And I just do think you get a bit of a memory bank going about through experience about where you've got to put your worry in and where you just got to let it go.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's not easy to, sometimes you get it wrong. But that's easier said than done. But I just think, well, okay, if we've got something to deal with, don't get all worked up about it. Like let's just understand it first and deal with it, and then work through what's next.
That's really helpful.
And I think you just, as you mature and as you have had many and varied experiences, it's just you just got to keep things in perspective and think about, okay, what do you really got to worry about versus what's got to go through to the keeper. And, in our sector, it's the safety of our people, obviously, first and foremost. And then, everything falls into line after that.
Yeah. No, it's really helpful. And I think this idea of resilience built through that experience, through repetition, through reps, is a very helpful angle. So, Fee, we've had a wide-ranging conversation, starting with the sector, retail, where it's heading, where the market and the competition's heading, into your business and how you're responding to that, and then a little bit more about you personally and your journey. And I think it's been really cool. So thank you for doing this, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and have a conversation with us. I'd love to close with a question to you, which is, there are people listening today, hopefully, at many different stages of their careers, right from early on through to quite senior and looking at making those next moves. What advice would you have to folks that are navigating their own careers today?
I think one piece of advice I do give people that are asking for it is, we're not all mind readers, funnily enough.
Yeah.
And when you're able to share a bit of a perspective about the direction that you want to take your career and the things that you're interested in and enjoy and want to be stretched or challenged in, share that, because then you're in someone's mind about, I just spoke to so-and-so the other day, and you learn more about the intentions of individuals. And then when an opportunity comes up, you're naturally sort of in their mentality about potentially being a fit for that role. So I think I would just encourage people to, not be in too much of a hurry, figure out what you like doing, get breadth of experience, but also make your intentions known. Yes. And work on building relationships, because doors open when you've got more contacts in that contact book.
Super helpful. Yeah. Fee, thank you very much. A privilege speaking to you today. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.